Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Crypto News Podcast. We are buzzing as always. Before we started the show, Kevin and I were just shooting the shit a little, talking about life, where we are, where we're dialing in from. I didn't even know this lad was buzzing in from Toronto. It's great to have another Toronto guest on the pod today, literally like a month ago today, Consensus. And blockchain futures happened. It seemed like everyone in crypto was in Toronto. It was nice to see in our beautiful city. And Kevin and I are dialing in. Heck, we could have done this in person. Kev, round 2, we will do in person. But it's time for the intro. Today we have Kevin Liu on the show today, software developer and co-founder of the one and only GOAT Network, where he leads the development of the first production-ready Bitcoin native zkRollup to revolutionize BitcoinFi. As the CEO of ZKM and co-founder of Metis and Ethereum Layer 2 with 60 million in locked assets, he drives scalable, decentralized blockchain solutions. He has secured over 5,000 BTC in institutional commitments for GOAT, wowza, and launched the BitVM2 Playground, advancing trustless Bitcoin bridges, which we really need. His extensive Bitcoin expertise and leadership in innovative cryptoeconomic designs make him a pivotal figure in blockchain's evolution. He is a true OG, and now he's buzzing on the GOAT Network. Kevin, pleasure to meet you, my friend. Great to have you on the show this morning.
Yeah, thank you, Matt, for having me. Yeah, really glad that we have another Toronto people.
Yes, it is pretty wild, Kevin, how many Toronto folks there are in crypto. I think a lot of this stems, I mean, again, Toronto is the biggest city in Canada, so obviously you're going to have tons of people. And there's just so many smart people in the greater Toronto area. I mean, so many, like the amount of founders that, and obviously there's more founders in Web 2 than Web 3, but the amount of folks who went to like the Waterloos, the University of Toronto's, and then leave to Silicon Valley, like, and I know we're going a little off the rails already, but have you ever thought about like how incredible Toronto could be as a tech hub, more so than it already is, if we had better regulations, if we didn't get taxed up the yin so much? Like Toronto could literally be one of the biggest tech hubs in the whole world, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. I moved here since 2016, and I'm witnessed the first wave of, all these crypto projects in Toronto.
Ethereum.
They were centered in the downtown area. Yeah, it's a triangle, right? Area. So many projects over there, and then the market went down, and that's also the policy, the tax you mentioned, so actually it was quite, surprise last night when we host, the Go Network meetup in downtown Toronto area. We have so many people over there, over 100. It was a full house. So I would say with all this kind of, Bitcoin movement, it seems the wise is coming back.
I agree.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, geez, we've had a lot of Bitcoin founders on the podcast recently. I mean, anyone who listens to the show, go back and take a look. But just I feel like the Bitcoin finance narrative, Kevin, is finally really heating up. Started the podcast in 2020, 2021. We're 450 episodes deep, almost 450 episodes deep now. In the first year or so, I feel like I had a lot of guests on who came on and said, hey, we're going to build, the rails or the tech for Bitcoin finance. And 5 years later, and it's finally coming to fruition. Why is it taking so long? Like, why just now in 2025 are we finally seeing Bitcoin finance blow up, where Bitcoin is more than just a store of value?
To be honest, the technology part is pretty hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All these limitations on the Bitcoin mainnet, all these kind of OP code stuff. So actually, it is hard for you to, really build something purely on top of this OP code stuff. You need to find some, alternative solution to satisfy both the scaling requirements, but also the security, assumptions. I believe in the market, there's multiple solutions going on to scale Bitcoin, like the merge mining, the OPCAS, and also the most promising one, like the BitVM2. These technology are keeping evolving. So to answer your question, first, this technology is pretty hard. And the second part actually is that I don't think there's some, solution are running, out of the competition yet.
Yeah.
So every solution seems possible. So that actually will bring, make this, let's say, it's diversified, it's good, but people are not focusing on one area, then the development progress might be slowed down. I would say with this, 4 or 5 years development, it finally is coming to a tipping point. It's pretty similar to the time that Optimist rollup coming out or Ethereum scaling solution. At that time, there were so many other scaling solutions for Ethereum as well. But when people found that Optimist rollup was so easy to apply and very, with a low cost, high speed, all this efficiency, and also can inherit the native Ethereum security, then this Ethereum layer 2, boom, right? I believe the BitVM2 solution, for now at least, is the most promising one, which, they combine ZK and OP. So, and this make the adoption very, affordable and very easy to adopt. Yeah, that's why I mentioned this is a tipping point. I hope, going forward, we can see one mainstream solution dominates the market, and then the Bitcoin layer 2 can, scale fast. BitcoinFi can, scale as well. Yeah.
Yeah, well said there. Let's take just a quick, left turn to right turn, whatever way you want to jig and jag. Let's talk about the institutional Bitcoin adoption, and then we'll come back into the techie stuff and of course everything GOAT related. But a couple years ago, I guess it was early. I guess it was last year. It was like 18 months ago, Jan 2024, when the ETFs came out. I didn't think that it would go as well as it did. Candidly, I didn't think we'd have this crazy adoption. I mean, I think I saw something earlier this week on Twitter, on X, about how the BlackRock ETF is the fastest growing ETF of all time, and that's just one of the 20. And then there's all the micro strategies and all the companies that are getting in as well. You have the Japanese one, Metaplanet, who's buying Bitcoin like it's going out of style. Like, are you and I in the same boat here, Kev? Like, did you think it would go this well with all the institutions just being so horny, for a lack of better words, to snag up some Bitcoin?
I didn't expect so, horny as well. Yeah. But, during all these past few months, I think the speed is, make it another way, is speeding up, right? You have seen so many new institutions and even companies, they're putting their reserve into the Bitcoin. So I would say it's coming to our speed up stage, which might, be even wilder in the future. Yeah, but that proves, I think, one point that Bitcoin has the real value, is the real digital gold. People see the value, see the adoption, but also it brings to another question, like, if people just keep buying it, is it good or bad?
Yeah.
If people, like, this Bitcoin, reserve are controlled by big companies, big institutions, is this really good? I don't know.
Why do you think it's bad?
First is partial of the centralization, which
that's very true. Yeah.
They might have some kind of influence. I'm not sure how, but centralization is always against the Bitcoin ethos, right? And the second part, actually, if the majority of the institution just buy and store it, not using it,
that is true.
This is not good for the ecosystem. I'm not sure if you monitor the data from there's a BTC gas, like website, which, they post every day's gas revenue for Bitcoin mainnet. I remember some days they only have like 500,000, less than 1 million gas revenue. That was pretty low compared to such a large token assets. If the Bitcoin assets cannot move, cannot flow, this is not good. Bitcoin miners cannot get enough incentive.
Great point.
And this, security assumption, might not work. So that's my question. It seems like the Bitcoin gonna be controlled by the large institutions and companies.
Yeah.
But should, our like retailer people also play a key role in it? So, it can, at least play like the counterparty to have some, risk adjusted, right? And also, if some people, they would like to, do more transactions or use cases based on Bitcoin, just like Go Network is doing. I think that's going to bring more liveness, activeness, usage to the Bitcoin ecosystem, which that will do good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's what we need there. On the, I mean, again, I never like to get into price talk on the pod. In fact, ever. I don't ever do price
No
talk. I don't,
financial advices, right?
yeah, NFA, folks, NFA. Neither of us are financial advisors, but not talking about price. Let's just talk about the supply shock. And I get asked this all the time. Like, I have my normie friends reaching out to me, Kev, being like, Matt, how is MicroStrategy, BlackRock, MetaPlanet, Cooler? How are all these companies buying hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin every single week, maybe billions sometimes, and the price isn't going up? What I tell them, and again, I've only looked on the back end to see what is good, and I've spoke to many people way smarter than me in the Bitcoin space like yourself, and they all say it's because all of the legacy holders who got in the early 2010s, the 2012, 13, 14, 15, who got Bitcoin for super dirt cheap, they're finally unloading the clip. And, they're smart about it. They don't want to unload the clip when it's going down. They want to unload the clip when the chart's going up a little.
Yeah.
But doesn't it seem a little weird that we haven't had this crazy, shock? And again, I do know we hit 100. We went back down to like high 70s, low 80s. Now we're back at 105, whatever it is today. But do you think a supply shock's incoming? I personally do. And I think we're going to see one of these parabolic runs that we went on. I'll never forget back in, I think it was 2021 or 2022. It was 2021 when Bitcoin went from like 25 to, 69 in a couple months. Like I remember waking up and Bitcoin would be like 5K higher than what it was. And 5K at like 40, that's a meaningful amount. It was like, 12, 15% just overnight. That was just China ripping the market up, right? It was Asia ripping the market up. And again, we did have those big ones where a couple times over the last couple months, we'd wake up and it would be 5K higher, but it's not as meaningful because we're at a higher price per Bitcoin. But with all that being said, do you think a supply shock's incoming? Are we going to see some mayhem soon?
First, I think, changing hands is a good thing, right? You're going to make the market cost even higher. So
yeah,
we can safely say it won't fall down to, like 5 digits, 5 digits, like that kind of range. But also, I would say, I'm not sure about supply shock, but from the human exploitation perspective, there's some, like econ points, like if everyone expecting something to increase, the prices keep going up, then it won't be that smooth because there will be someone, taking the advantage of this expectation and doing, like kind of arbitrage,
like the exchanges, they go leverage hunting and yeah.
So again, I'm not sure about supply shock, but I think from the market practice perspective, there's someone, taking the profit.
Yeah, no, it's very true there. Yeah. That's another topic I always think of. I don't know if we'd be at the price we'd be at today without leverage, but I also think maybe we'd be higher, because like leverage in crypto is such a big and paramount part of our industry. But I mean, you and I were talking a bit about Hyperliquid before the show with James Wynn, how he got hunted by all the exchanges, the Binance's, the Coinbase, and Wintermute. They all get together, the market makers, and they go leverage hunting. And again, it's like, if that's your business, I mean, you and I would probably do the same thing if we were in the business of leverage hunting. Like, there's a million ways to make a million, and that's one of the ways to make millions. But have you ever thought about that? What our beautiful industry would look like if you couldn't go leverage hunting, and perhaps where we'd be today if there weren't so many longs and shorts open, especially on Bitcoin?
Yeah, I would expect the price can be high even.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I think so. But market goes market way, so yeah, we have to accept
100%.
the reality.
Kev, you're on a roll. We haven't even touched GOAT yet. We're going to take a quick break, give a huge shout out to our sponsor of the show. Then we're going to take a deep dive into GOAT and how you and the team are genuinely and truly building the future of Bitcoin finance. Huge shout out to Prime XBT. longtime friends and longtime sponsors of the Crypto News podcast. We love the team at Prime XBT as they offer a robust trading system for both beginners and professional traders. Doesn't matter if you're a rookie or a vet, you can easily design and customize your layouts and widgets to best fit your trading style. Prime XBT is also running an exclusive promo for listeners of the Crypto News podcast. Use the promo code CryptoNews50. That's CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. Again, that's CryptoNews50, all one word, to receive 50% of your deposit credited to your trading account. And now back to the show with Kev. Let's start with the elevator pitch, just to sort of set the table for our listeners. We had a nice red cloth on the table, filet mignons, caviar, it's all coming in. But set the table for us here, Kev, and tell us a little bit about GOAT, and then we'll get into the fun stuff.
Yeah. So what GOAT network is building actually is a layer on top of Bitcoin. We hope this layer can inherit the native security from Bitcoin. So with that as a technical foundation, we can build more use cases and more usage for Bitcoin ecosystem. So yeah, that's literally what we're building. It's a technical, platform to enable native security from Bitcoin, so people can earn native yield as well.
Let's talk about yield, because I'm sure the listeners are probably like, all right, here's another company promising yield. You guys actually give legit yield. This isn't Terra Luna yield here. How do you guys get yield? Because again, whenever I have a guest on the show who is in the yield business in any capacity, I'm not a journalist, but I need to use a bit of my journalistic integrity here and ask, how do you guys get yield and how do you pass it on to your customers?
Yeah, actually, this is a very, let's say, solid question. An excellent question. When you ask a lot of projects, where are their yield coming from? You can tell, if that project is solid or not. Because if they cannot answer the source of yield, and then
100%.
you are the yield.
Yes. It's one of my favorite lines of crypto. If they do not tell you where the yield comes from, you are the source. I love that. Anyways, the floor is yours, my friend.
Yeah. So on Go Network, we have a very interesting setup. The gas fee on Go Network is charged in BTC, and we are also employing decentralized sequencer, network on Go Network. So it means as a layer 2, Go Network, every block will be produced by these decentralized sequencer nodes. But how you define, who gonna produce the next block? Because every block, when you produce, you will collect the gas fee and also the MEV revenue, also the mining rewards. So not just a duty, it's also a right for you. You can get all these economic benefit. So how to define which node can produce the next block? This is related to BTC staking. So let's say you are BTC holder, you have one BTC and you put into sequencer node 1. It means you are adding the weights for this sequencer node. And because of your BTC staking, this node have a much higher possibility to produce the next block. And then they will get the gas fee from the block production. Of course, they need to share that revenue with you. Otherwise, why you put stake into their node? So this build a very interesting economic model. A higher BTC staking into one node, the higher rewards this node can get, and then the high APY, this BTC staker can benefit from. So, and this also is also going to benefit the whole Go network, because more transactions, more BTC gas revenue, more high yield for all the BTC holders. So that's basically where the yield comes from. It comes from the whole network revenue. And what we need to do is to drive more transactions, more use cases, more applications onto Go network, so people can do trading, play, earn, staking, all this stuff. Every transaction happen on Go network, the gas fee will be collected and then shared. So this is something I would say pretty unique, because I didn't see too much organic native yield for Bitcoin.
Yes.
Except for, some arbitrage funding rates in central exchanges. But this is different. We hope to build this kind of, self-sustainable economic model to support native yield.
Yeah, well said. I mean, you guys, like, your yield is genuinely coming from the network itself.
Yes.
which I love because, I mean, I had a wild, I'm not going to say who it was from, but I had an absolutely wild email, Kevin, that I sent to a couple of my friends in the space. And there's a company that is, I don't want to dox these guys. How can I say this? I'll just tell the listeners and you, then of course you already know this, but how a lot of Bitcoin yield gets done, folks, is you lend company A your Bitcoin, they then lend it to someone else and lend it to someone else, and it's just a big lending circle jerk, and then you get some of that yield back. So it's like you don't even have one counterparty risk, you literally have like 5 different counterparty risks to get your Bitcoin yield. And it's like at that point, if you really want yield that bad, like you might as well just you find one of the yield farms on a stable coin or on ETH or on Solana or on whatever blockchain, but it's like, it is crazy. And the email was crazy where it's like how it works. You send us your Bitcoin. We send it to company A. Company A sends it to company B. Company B sends it to I was like, this can't be a real email right now, but it was. And this company's growing too. So pretty wild. Declined their offer to come on the podcast, of course, but super, super interesting. Question for the Bitcoin maxis. Bitcoin still has more maxis than any other ecosystem in crypto for very good reason. It's the OG, it's the most battle tested, it's obviously the highest value, it's the big dog for a reason. But a lot of the maxis insist on keeping custody themselves and don't want any smart contract risk like someone with you guys. But again, then they can't really participate in the ecosystem. They're just hodling, which is fine. Bitcoin's biggest value prop is still the store of value. But what do you say to those Bitcoin maxis who have hundreds of billions of dollars in Bitcoin that haven't moved in forever, don't want to participate at all? Like, how do you and the team sort of pitch them and be like, hey guys, like we're building something legit, we're offering real yield here, and we're just getting started? Like, what does that pitch sound like? Like, does that worry you at all? How does that whole conversation go?
Yeah, actually in the past 2 years, we have been talking with so many, like we see the trending that initially they refused any, further conversation. But eventually, when they see all the construction, all the, like industries involvement, they show some interest. But again, I think the very beginning, they will ask the very first question is that, first, I don't want to move my Bitcoin. How you can secure, based on this situation, not moving, how you can make, yield for us. Or another question is that how you can, secure my Bitcoin if I want to try some practice or some use cases from you. So security is the very first question.
Well said.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned like the native security at the beginning. With BitVM2, with our, ZKM, all these constructions, and also the layer 2 itself is decentralized. We hope to make the whole, bridge network as decentralized as possible, as trustless as possible. So you don't have to worry about, your key will be handled to another person, another person. So
Gotcha.
I think that's the very basic, stuff we need to solve and to make them feel ease that they don't have to worry about the security part. But then the second part actually is that not only talk to these, big whales, also, some institutions, even retailers, different people have different risk profile. Not all of them are, like the same group of people. Like the one you mentioned, like they're extremely risk haters. They don't like any single kind of risk. So we are offering, risk adjusted BTCFi products. It's called Safe Box. It's mostly like you self-custody your Bitcoin, but you need to put a time lock to showcase that you are really participating in this application. But only your key can unlock it. But what's your loss is that you need to lock it for 3 months, let's say, and then you can get some yield.
Gotcha.
So within this time lock period, we can mirror this assets on Go network to participate in, different kind of DeFi applications to earn the yield and then return to them. The way is that when the time lock is expired, the assets on layer 2 will be, destroyed. So there will be no double spend, but it can satisfy their, safety requirement and also can really make their BTC work for them. In any way, this BTC needs to work. it cannot, just stay there in their wallet and earn yield. That doesn't make sense. No money can come from air, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of the pitch that we were talking to them, that you can have a time lock. That's, the minimum step you can do, but you can earn, let's say 2% APY. Although that's little, but comparing to, nothing is still good.
It's a little bit safe. That's
it's a little bit safe.
Yeah, a little
And
bit
then
safe.
we reach other, like user group. They are kind of love some certain level of risk. They can move their BTC to, a safe environment as well. Like as say security is the first point. And then we have another product called Vault, which is the one we work with Stakestone. People just put into the Vault, which is smart contract based, and then they can have 5% APY. These assets will be bridged by us to our network to, again, participate in different, DeFi activities to earn the yield for them. So this is another, level. Let's say they love risk to an extent. Yeah. For retailers, they love to bet for, use their, principle to bet for big. So there will be different applications like the Gamify or GameFi for them, so they can, play and win. So I would say different people have different risk profile, and we're gonna offer them different, kind of risk-adjusted BTCFi products for them. So there won't be just one product fit for all the people. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got to be like TradFi. You got to have different products for different folks.
Yes. Yes.
We're getting a little tight for time here, mate. Last question. What does the future of Bitcoin Fi look like in your eyes? Is it going to be a crazy, buzzing, vibrant, decentralized finance ecosystem like Ethereum, like Solana? Is it going to be more siloed? Like, what does that look like? Again, it's tough to answer these questions and it's tough to give a time frame, but like we're genuinely just getting started. This is the first year that I really got into crypto in 2019, 2020. So again, I'm not a vet like you, but let's say I've been in here for 6-7 years, however long it's been. This is the first year where I've genuinely seen good companies like you guys actually moving and grooving in the Bitcoin space for the first time in 6-7 years, which is wild, but it's taken this long, probably for good reason. We finally have the tech, we finally have the scalability, we have the teams who are doing it, and we have the adoption as well. But what is the Bitcoin Fi ecosystem look like in your eyes moving forward?
First, I would say it will combine the traditional, like DeFi, all these products, as that practice is very mature. So people, wrap BTC into, different DeFi protocols to earn yield. That would be some, like things for giving. So that's pretty much all the, protocols or chains are practicing. But I believe BTCFi is far beyond that. We need to consider the feature of Bitcoin. That's such a large token assets. How to really utilize its security feature and also its liquidity feature to generate something, new. That's actually something we are expecting, like BTC-backed stablecoin, let's say, or BTC can combine with RWA or AI. We are really expecting something new, some new model for BTCFi can emerge from this trend. I don't like just being some DeFi practice. Actually, you can just play Ethereum, Solana.
Yeah.
You don't need Bitcoin. For Bitcoin, with such a large token assets, with such a decentralized and secure assumption, how to leverage that. That's something we are really looking for. So that's why I mentioned, like, if you have BTC as a back, you can use it maybe for a very secure stable coin.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, but maybe that's the training.
No, well said there. Kev, what an episode. Really appreciate you coming on. Again, your episode's going to air in, give or take, 7 to 10 days. Any news popping off before we let you go today?
I want to say, as I said in the very beginning, I hope we see, we are at the tipping point that Bitcoin Layer 2, with all this technical advancement and economic advancement, we can, finally see some solid solution coming out. So this can build a very solid foundation for BTCFi to, prosper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well said there. I love it. And lastly, where can our listeners find you personally? And of course, GOAT, the GOAT, greatest of all time. Go, go, go. GOAT Network online and on socials.
Yeah, you can find us at goat.network. That's the website. And our Twitter is zkRollup.
What about you?
Yeah.
What's your Twitter?
My Twitter is Kevin Liu B. Yeah, that's
Kevin Liu. Love it. Folks, what an episode with Kevin Liu, co-founder of GOAT Network. Just a great epi on everything Bitcoin related, building the layer on top of Bitcoin, the BitVM2 Playground, crypto builders in Toronto, the future of Bitcoin finance, and how GOAT gets their yield. Huge shout out to Kevin and the team for making this happen. If you guys enjoyed this one, I hope you did. Please do subscribe. It would mean the world to my team and I. Speaking of the team, love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. And back to the listeners, you guys are the GOATs. Keep on growing those bags and keep on staying healthy, wealthy, and happy. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in as always, and we will see you on the next one. Ciao.